Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday, the 17th of September 2025. My name is Noble Crosby-Annan and this is New Day. Let's take a look at the headlines of the stories this morning. In the bulletin this morning, President John Dramani Mahama sets a 24-month strict compliance deadline for the completion of the flagship Big Push agenda in the Volta and Greater Accra regions. Also, 1 million cedi bounty placed on each of 4 individuals suspected of gold smuggling and illegal gold trading in the country. Plus, the National Identification Authority to distribute over 350,000 cards of minor applicants of up to 14 years from next week. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Let's begin the morning from here. President John Dramani Mahama set a 24-month strict compliance deadline for the completion of the flagship Big Push agenda in the Volta and the Greater Accra regions, cutting the sword for the redevelopment of the Atimpoku Asikuma Ho Denu Aplao and the Dowenya Apinya Dodua Road projects. The president has announced the allocation of 30 billion cedis next year, in addition to the already 14 billion released for the Big Push agenda.
The NDC has come under heavy criticism over its inability to develop road networks in the Volta region. In 2020, John Mahama mooted the Big Push agenda that failed to materialize over election misfortunes. But in 2024, it became his trump card, where he recalled it from the People's Manifesto. $10 billion investment with an initial seed capital of 14 billion. Significant commitment to this he has pledged to the people that seeks to open up the country.
To the Big Push. So all these roads that are starting, the money is sitting in the account and waiting to pay them. I was talking with the minister, and he's allocating 30 billion cedis to the Big Push. So contractors, have no fear, go full steam ahead. So let me apologize to Ghanaians. From the launch of this Big Push here, the whole of Ghana is going to become a construction site. The whole of Ghana is going to become a construction site. So bear with the contractors. When you are driving, there will be some inconvenience because the road work will be going on.
The road minister Kwame Govins-Agboja indicated that the implementation of the Big Push agenda will be strictly monitored and quality would be maintained.
And I am challenging all contractors to prove that the idea that the Ghanaian contractor is not fit for purpose, that the Ghanaian contractor can only do shoddy work. Let us seize this opportunity to prove everybody wrong. I believe the Ghanaian contractor is as good as everybody. I believe the Ghanaian contractor has got a unique opportunity to build the longest lasting road in our history. And Mr. President, you will go down in history as the president who gave the biggest dose of intervention on roads at a particular time in our history. That is the fact.
For the contractor First Sky, the engineering around the road construction for its lot of 177 remains key in opening up the Volta region.
We have never seen such a major road network in this region for so many years ago. But for 177 kilometers of road network within a space of 2 years is a very, very, very significant. And we believe that with the modern technology that we have now at hand at the First Sky, this work will be executed within a matter of 1.5 years.
The expectation of the people is to the effect that the Volta region will be opened up with the implementation and construction of these roads that will open it up to the rest of the country. Komla Kluche, TV3 News.
And now from the roads to the farms, Ghana is making progress in reducing post-harvest losses, according to the Director of Presidential Initiatives in Agriculture and Agribusiness, Dr. Peter Boama Otukono. He says strategic interventions by the government are beginning to yield results, and he's confident the issue will be minimized significantly in the coming years.
Follow a recent intervention in the Asante Akim North district, where over 1,000 boxes of tomatoes and 2,000 bags of onions were purchased from local farmers under the Feed Ghana program. The move was in response to concerns raised by the area's Member of Parliament over rising post-harvest losses. Dr. Otokuno says the initiative underscores the need for stronger value chain management, particularly for perishable crops like tomatoes, which are vulnerable to price fluctuations and marketing efficiencies. He revealed that the Office of the President has signed an agreement to launch a new input credit platform aimed at aggregating farm outputs and improving market access.
We are also looking at mobile processors in areas of the production of these perishable goods, so that these mini processors would process the excess tomatoes that are produced into purees and be able to store them over a long period of time.
Now, away from that, more than 350,000 cards of minor applicants of up to 14 years will be distributed from September 23 by the National Identification Authority. The authority insists that potential applicants should report cases of extortion, explaining that first-time applicants should never pay to get their Ghana cards. George Quaining has more here.
The World Identity Day offered the National Identification Authority (NIA) the opportunity to brief the general public on progress of work. More than 18 million applicants have successfully registered for their Ghana cards. Cards in excess of 18 million have also been printed.
Total printed is 18,853,779. Total cards issued 17,855,708. Total number of records updated, 207,322. Total number of cards replaced, at 585,337. We've registered over 9,886,265 male, and the female is 9,869,094.
The authority will commence stakeholder engagement from September 18 in relation to amendment to the Act and law in accordance with its operations.
We are going to do some major amendments in our Act and in our LI, especially when it's the one that says that the LI is 211, Section 7, that talks about the presentation of your Ghana card. We are now going to make it enforcement that you have to do biometric verification. Without biometric verification, they should not be giving you access. And in fact, we are even proposing that some kind of punitive measures to be given to any institution that goes contrary to what we've put in the law.
Cards of more than 350,000 minors up to 14 years are to be distributed from September 23 across all centers of the NIA.
Moving on, residents of Pong and surrounding communities in the Pong Katamanso municipality of the Greater Accra region have staged a protest over what they say is government's prolonged neglect in providing essential social amenities. For years, residents have grappled with inadequate access to clean water and bad road networks.
Pong, a rapidly developing community in the Pong Katamanso municipality, continues to grapple with poor social amenities as road infrastructure and access to potable water remain there, affecting the livelihood of residents. Despite the growing economic significance of the enclave, political campaign promises to address these pressing challenges have not been fulfilled, leaving residents depend on expensive water tanker services. On Tuesday, residents staged a communal protest dubbed "Enough is Enough" to register their displeasure. All entry points to Pong were blocked to traffic as angry protesters bent lorry ties. Stranded commuters had to continue their journey on foot. The protesters later marched to the Pong Katamanso Municipal Assembly and the Traditional Council, where a documented petition was presented for onward submission to the presidency.
His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama gave a promise here. We don't want that promise to be a campaign promise. He told us that he's going to fix Pong Road and solve our Pong water problem. We are presenting this petition for you, and we only gave a time limit for 3 months. After 3 months, we beg you, whatever happens, no blame. We will not push anybody again, but we will come by ourselves.
Municipal Coordinating Director Muhammad Ali Amadou told protesters government will intervene in the documented crisis within 3 months.
I would like to assure you that this petition will be carried through to the responsible agencies, and we will do our best so that within the 3 months at least you will see some sign of effort by the Assembly in collaboration with the agencies.
Residents, however, vowed to intensify their demonstrations until concrete solutions are provided.
No, you mean pay ya kedi work be won many ni femu ne na obagbojo wo efio yese afi ochi enyoku ni wo kwa ka hegbe ni wo kan ni bi eje kan ni wo kan ni bi ehye obanye wona no ni wota wo ya milo kedi wona le obawo wo hinga ye wo hinga wo mi kedi amralu ni tano ni defo woda wotabie ne afi edwe ibaye ba gbina be e ba hye de kadeka baba ke wo fun no shiki obatuna ke ma ye man bi adin.
The protest highlights the growing frustration among Pong residents who say development has failed to match the pace of the community's expansion. For them, the assurance of government intervention will only matter if it translates into real action and not just another cycle of promises. Stanley Nibley, TV3 News, Accra.
And now to another form of need. The Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, has expressed concern over the rising trend of ethical decay in society, calling for a national effort to deal with corruption in the next 5 years. He's troubled by frequent reports of examination malpractice by students who continue to exhibit unethical behaviors across institutions. Julius Deborah launched a stakeholder engagement for the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan.
Is estimated to lose $3 billion annually to corruption, a staggering amount that deprives the country of resources for development. The Chief of Staff says now is the time to holistically tackle corruption.
Ghana is open for business, and we are actively seeking strategic investment to energize our local economy. But let us be honest, corruption is the greatest threat to this ambition. We must confront this reality. If we fail to protect our resources, we will never have enough to build the schools, hospitals, and roads our people deserve. We will never create the decent jobs for our youth. We will never realize the 24-hour economy as we envision.
He urged stakeholders contributing to the drafting of the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan to boldly formulate policies that will transform governance and restore integrity.
Recent events, including the exam malpractice, reminds us that ethical decay is not confined to our institutions only. It is creeping into our homes, our schools, and our future. That is why ethics must be central to the new plan, not just as a policy, but as a national culture. Let me be clear. This government is committed to founding this National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, because founding ethics and anti-corruption is not a cost. It is an investment. Therefore, I urge each of you to be candid, practical, and bold in your contributions. Bring forward the best ideas, share your concerns, and help us design a plan that is not only implementable, but also truly reflect the aspirations of Ghanaian people.
The Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Ada, says the fight against corruption must be holistic.
According to Transparency International, where I work with as the chapter in Ghana, corruption remains an existential threat, and Ghana's fight against it has not been that effective, evidenced by the various calls in the past 5 years. The fight against corruption cannot be left to government, nor can it be reduced to sloganeering. It must be a national commitment, a partnership of leaders and citizens alike.
The National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan is expected to embed accountability, transparency and integrity into every fabric of the society.
This involves about 5 different stakeholder engagement that will be held in Accra alone. So you have civil society organizations, among many other multi-stakeholder groups that are involved in this.
Away from that, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and other transport unions have staged a protest over the alleged encroachment of their lands by some private developers. The leadership of the union have petitioned President John Dramani Mahama to immediately intervene. A report by Nura Mohammed.
Hundreds of protesters from the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, together with other transport unions, protested the alleged takeover of their lands. They demonstrated from the Cocoa Marketing Board area through some principal streets of Accra.
The deputy PRO of the association has claimed that one Dr. Asumedu and other private individuals have taking over the lands that have been earmarked specifically for lorry stations and market women. They are asking that the government should intervene and come to their aid so that they could preserve and protect their lands.
The GPRTU earlier urged all commercial vehicle drivers under their union, as well as supporting transport operators such as the Concerned Drivers Association, to cease operations. This affected most workers and traders who rely heavily on the transport unions to commute.
We have decided that we are not going to allow anybody. And this is not the first time, the second time. It is something that they have been doing it to us. So this time round, we say we will not allow anybody. So he's not the first person. First I was there. And he was able to go to court, always said that, oh, court order, and he has been able to build the place. And the railways people are telling us that he doesn't even have document. That's what the railways people are telling us. I'm not the one saying it. So this time round, we will not allow anybody to come there.
Some of the protesters called on governments to intervene in the encroachment of their lands. We are pleading with the government to have mercy on us. The piece of land they have come to occupy is where we get our daily bread and also support our families. So the government should please step in. Leadership of the GPRTU presented their petition at the Jubilee House.
Reporting from Jubilee House, Nura Mohammed for TV3 News, Accra.
And now a 1 million cedi bounty has been placed on each of 4 individuals suspected of gold smuggling and illegal gold trading in the country. The Ghana Gold Board and Police Service, they are conducting a nationwide manhunt for the suspects. According to Gold Board CEO Sami Jemfi, the gold seized from the suspects amounts to 10 million cedis. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service has announced plans to introduce a policy governing the use of learning materials in basic schools. According to Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, the service is developing a policy to standardize textbooks and other learning materials for basic schools. Thomas Khan has more here.
The Director General of the Ghana Education Service made this known during a visit to some selected basic schools in the Central Region. Together with the Mayor of Cape Coast and other officials from the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly, the team's first point of call was the Bakatsere Methodist Basic School. Headmistress of the school, Equia Domfe, said enrollment was very low because the school didn't have a kindergarten. The primary level was exempted from the school feeding program and faced infrastructural challenges.
One is with the feeding program that we should be put on it so that it will sustain the students. Then also we have the building is an old building. We have some repairs to be done on it, so we will appeal to them. We have classrooms that it can be used for computer lab, science lab, but the finances are not there.
The entourage also visited the St. Augustine's Practice Basic School and Jacob Wilson Say Basic School, where the Director General of the Ghana Education Service and the Cape Coast Mayor presented some exercise books, pencils and erasers as well as drinks to kindergarten pupils. Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Prof. Ernest Kofi Davis, said poor infrastructure in schools will be addressed.
What I saw, which I think we need to pay attention, and of course we are already paying attention, we've budgeted for, is the infrastructure. We need to improve the infrastructure. We need to make sure that the classroom space is improved to support 21st century learning.
Responding to recent complaints by parents on expensive books and other learning materials, he said the GES had initiated moves to have a policy to have standardized books and other learning materials.
So the issue has to do with private schools and quasi-private schools that might be taking advantage of the policy gap on the reuse of textbook. As I said this morning, we are going to have policy discussion between GES, NACA, and NASIA to look at how best we can solve this problem, because it doesn't make sense.
And that's our package for the news on Newday. But there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and Newday continues after this. Have a great morning.
Okay.
Actually said I didn't see you dancing. You were just sitting there on your phone.
No, I'm more of the, I either do the singing or I do the rapping, you know.
But I've never seen you dance.
Oh, I think I explained it extensively yesterday.
Somebody just said you're a rapper.
Yes.
But
I actually rapped on the show, I think on Monday.
Oh, you did?
Opening the show, yeah, I did.
How come I missed
a
that?
line or two from Manifest. I'm sure I'll do a line or two at some point.
Yeah. Oh, but this is a
tomorrow
nice song. I mean, you can easily dance to it, even if you don't know how to move your body as you should. Yeah, that should be.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
I love the message of the song. I mean, unfortunately, that's how I listen to music. I mean, sometimes people tell me that I pay too much attention to what is being said.
No, but
the
the lyrics are very important.
Yeah.
I love the lyrics and I love the melody as well. So if you've got great lyrics and great melody as well, you've got me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have a colleague who always says that he disagrees with that view.
Really?
Yes, he says that if you want to,
Oh, how?
He said the music is for entertainment. You are supposed to just bump our
Not
heads.
really. I disagree with that because I've heard people.
I disagree with him.
I don't like reggae, and anytime people are playing that and they say, Beatrice, just sing along. I'm like, I don't really like reggae. And they'll be like, you're missing so much because there's a lot of sense in reggae if you listen to it, life stories and all of that. So, but I disagree with your friend.
Yes, I mean, I disagree with him as well. I love that song from EL, basically saying that everything is easy for our God. That is the message that we are sharing with you this morning. Thank you for staying with us here on TV3. This is New Day. Joseph Akable here, and I'm with
Beatrice Edu.
Yes, nice to have you. Nice to do this with you.
Yes.
We should do it more.
Yeah, we do it off air, but now we're doing it on air.
Yes. So that is it in terms of our intro to you and a message to you this morning. But there's a lot to talk about a bit later on. Big issue. I'll be having the regular on the Wednesday team, Dr. Zato and Solomon
fantastic.
Owusu, being joined by Edem Agbana, the MP.
Oh, that would be explosive, actually.
Yes, and we'll be having a conversation about campaign financing and the cost of elections. There is a report that has been put out by the CDD that talks about you need as much as $200 million to stand a chance of winning the presidency with the main parties, the two main political parties. So there's an entire conversation that we'll have to have about the issue of campaign financing.
And we need to get clarity on it when it comes to how transparent the sources of funding really are, because, I mean, it's quite a serious issue.
Yes.
Yeah, and the political parties don't seem to really get the bit that we are monetizing our political system and eventually going to have a negative impact on our democracy. So that will be a great conversation to have later in the day.
Yes, I mean, if time permits, to ask a simple, direct question to our guest about the conversation surrounding whether a state of emergency should be declared or not. We'll ask that as well. But we'll first begin the show with a This Morning segment. And yesterday, the president actually launched the Big Push, which is the government's main infrastructure program. The plan is to complete projects that started by the previous administration. We heard from the finance minister say that around 70% they are going to continue and finish all those projects and also undertake some other major projects as well. So maybe we just box everything together: campaign financing, a Big Push, and Galamsey. Just call in when we begin This Morning segment and just share your views with us. Let's start with the This Morning segment. Before you call into the show, you can actually text just with your phone and win some money. Let's talk about cash out, and you have to dial *439# and you follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform and enter. We want you to pick the TV3 platform actually, and you are going to win some amount of money. We have 1,000 cedis that we are giving out to 10 people. So participate in this. Don't miss out on this particular issue as well. So it's a way of winning some good money this morning, midweek. You're preparing for the weekend. Just participate in it and win some money. But Beatrice, which of the three issues stand out for you? Okay, before you.
Okay. So there's the first caller on. Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us on New Day this morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. My name is Legina.
Yes. Would you kindly tell us which of the issues that we talked about you have an interest in? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, what's your concern this morning? Yes.
My concern is that the research is true. And all these blames have to go to those who help us select those people. I mean the delegates. The delegates nowadays have made their mind that whoever comes to them, they have to get something from them. So this has for those who want to be in the leadership come with money to entice people to get themselves through. You see, when you want a leader in Islamic food, it tells you there are some factors that you have to consider as a person, even in religious leadership, to consider who to become an imam. When you come to Christianity, there are also factors to consider. But why today? Somebody saying, I am offering myself for you to send me. But before you send me, you have to send me money. Does it make sense? So when you let the person pay you money and get that position, what do you think? This is the way to get ourselves being corrupted. So when we are sitting saying that we are fighting corruption, I laugh at Ghanaians. We are playing. We are jokers.
We are playing. We are jokers.
We are jokers. We are not serious. Have you played far before? You play BB in TV. Yeah, in TV. We are useless. We always, any person who talks with action, it's not a visionary person. And most of you know it is more than $200 million that they are talking about. If somebody who can offer you a television set, a car, a motorbike, walking from Sunyani to Brekum, can't you walk? And somebody giving you a lorry fare, 4,000 Ghana cedis. Can a madman do this? We are people. So it's time we open our eyes, tell people the right thing. You will be the best person to do the right thing, but yes, because you don't have money. I have contested election before. Because I was not having money, they rejected me.
So you obviously have a personal experience.
Yes. I contested and I have the NDC treasurer. When I go, I am able to give proper message. At some I'm looking now. Somebody will not be able to speak.
All right, and we lost him there, but Akable, I mean, it seems very obvious that people are very interested in the monetization of our democracy, and he's coming from a personal perspective because he lost the election because he didn't give out money.
I mean, let me share some figures. So according to the CDD report, if you want to contest to be a member of parliament, you need at least 4 million cedis. 4 million cedis. You need 2 million to nurture the constituency. Then during the campaign period proper, you need 2 million to sort people out and do all the other campaign things that you need to do. And for the presidency, we are looking at $100 million plus. And so the question to ask yourself is that if any of us we decide to run for elections, I don't know about you, but I don't have 4 million cedis.
You can go for loan. Pay later.
Yeah, but if you go for loan, loans are supposed to be invested in productive ventures. How are you going to get the money back? You have to be corrupt.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Yes. And we have another caller, Sani. Sani, if you can tell us, good morning to you, first of all. If you can tell us what is bothering you this morning.
Okay, I'm Sani from Wale Wale. So I want to comment about the bishop's call on the president to declare a state of emergency. I think that one thing about the pastor is that they have been very consistent in their demand, because I can remember that in the previous administration, in fact, they were quite vocal against the NPP government to bring the situation under control. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. So, but now this president, in fact, he is doing a lot of work to end the menace. In fact, if you look at the turbidity of the water, you can see that it has quite improved as compared to the NPP administration. So it means that a lot of work is being done under the background. You can see that about 44 what you call forest zones, we have them now. They were being captured by the NPP. As at now, 9 of them have been retrieved. Okay, so it means that a lot is being done. Apart from that, excavators have also been seized from the illegal miners and then farm machines. Even those who died through the helicopter crash, they were going to launch a program that will help the people to engage in proper mining and all that. So he's doing well. But their call, I think they need to have a second look at it, because a state of emergency is not an easy task. Okay, so if they bring it, it is going to affect livelihood, it is going to affect movement, freedom of people and all that. So they need to look at it in that sense, because the president is doing well. Also seeing the blue water guards who are also patronizing our water bodies to make sure the situation is controlled. So I think they need to tread cautiously about calling for the state of emergency. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sani from Wale. Akable, it looks like Sani disagrees with the opinion from a lot of people that the president should be declaring a state of emergency, and they think that this is the effective way, the most effective way to deal with it. He doesn't really agree with it.
I think the conversation around the state of emergency is generally easier for persons who are outside government. Obviously, the president is looking at the numbers, and we know just with the last couple of months, just basically the BOG withdrawing its intervention, we've seen what is happening with the city. We know that gold has become one of the main items that has helped the value of the city to improve over that period as well. And so all those are the considerations that, unfortunately,
but you see,
the president would have to take into account.
That's why Atasha has an issue. Well, he thinks that perhaps the president is considering how much is getting into the gold board rather than looking at the environmental degradation
In fact, the Catholic Bishop's conference statement made reference to that. When they met him, he pointed to the economic implications.
Yes.
So that's a problem.
Yes, so let's get another caller on the line there. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? If you can tell us your name and where you're calling from. Alhaji.
Good morning. Alhaji Beneyure Shale. Calling from Savrugu. Tabe, how are you?
I'm very well.
Rona is around. And Kutuki and Nashimpo. First of all, let me send my wisdom to Chairman Ofoso Ampopo and Shemima Muslim and Honorable Chief of Staff, Julius Zebra, and Alaja Alasan and Oji Pampuado. When we talk about the election, I think sometimes we should understand the system we are, because some of our people let our leaders being corrupt. Because if you are a delegate and you demand money for the candidate, do you think it can work for you? You see, we need to be reasonable. Sometimes, even you can go and talk to the people, and you have solid message for the people. You can often go. They will not vote you unless you give them something. You give them. You need to let the distance stop. If not so, the country cannot move forward. So if you vote that person and that person did not do anything for you, or you be suffering, and you start talking about that people, listen. Let's look how we can find solution to this problem. We should look at that. Our country, we cannot fight that corruption.
Alhaji, you're okay. Alhaji's line wasn't so good. Unfortunately, we've lost him. I was going to ask him about, he's the third person, I believe, calling to express worry about people deciding to take money from those who want to contests in their areas. But hopefully one of them will get the opportunity to encourage people that, okay, that shouldn't be the way to go. You should rather look at the qualities the person has and what he or she is bringing on board, rather than what you get to take care of yourself immediately.
You remember something I told you about if you are a serious candidate, you have to be resourceful.
Exactly, yes. And I mean, saying that if you can't raise 4 million...
that's the flip side.
Yeah, you can't raise 4 million Ghana cedis. You shouldn't be considering that.
I think the main problem is the point you make about the fact that the money is mainly used to pay the people who are going to vote.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's a part of the CDD report that actually looks at high spenders, those who give a lot of money, and the electoral outcomes. And most of those who won were actually the high spenders.
Yeah, that's true. We have one person coming from the Volta region. Good morning to you. If you can tell us I mean, your name first of all, and how you're doing. I should perhaps practice my other F1. Yes.
Good morning, my dear sister. How are you doing?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. F1.
Yeah.
F1, okay.
Miss F1.
Yes.
I just want to suggest that, yes, Madam F1.
That's only my level.
I just want to suggest that this Galamsey matter in Ghana today, it is the Ashanti region which is being affected so much. Why don't we engage the Ashanti who controls Ashanti region, who is the king of Ashanti region? He has all the powers over all the chiefs, over everything in the Ashanti region. Why can't government just go engage him, let him call all his subjects, so that this problem, he goes in and solve it the way he's solving the problem at the north. My thinking is that if we are always rely on government to solve these problems, it cannot be. It cannot be. The place belongs to somebody who is the king. He is the king of Ashanti region. I hope. My thinking is that he is the person who can solve this problem. Don't let us rely on government. What will this, what we call it, state of emergency and all that? It will not work. Forget about it. It will not work. Let us go straight to what? Let us hit the hammer at the top of the nail. He is the king of Ashanti region. He controls every land. He controls everything in Ashanti region. Why we shy away from that? Go to him and then let him engage him, respectively, to do this for us. Thank you.
Akwe, thank you so much. And I think that's a great point he makes about the collective responsibility of all of us. Because, again, you have people asking the question that, for instance, when foreigners come in, before they get to the forest, it is Ghanaians who show them the way to the forest. They don't know where our forests are. And so there's a need for all of us, individuals, chiefs, everybody, to come in to say that this is our future. We want to deal with it.
Yes,
the government can do what it can with policies and all of that. But if the individuals on the ground are not dealing with it, how do you solve the problem?
I agree with that. Let's do some of the messages that have come in so far. This one here from Prince Nana Yaoyok. He said that the monetization of our democracy is a key source of corruption. It will be better to prevent individuals from buying their way into power with money. The NCC should enhance its efforts to educate citizens about the true purpose of elections. When leaders rely on financial contributions to get elected, they may become corrupt in an attempt to recover their funds. And another one here from Ayorakwa Ayape Richard. You say that government's big push in road construction is commendable because good roads connect the country, open up markets, and drive decentralization. But alongside building roads, we must secure what is even more essential, safe drinking water. Galamsey continues to destroy our rivers and environment. And that is the message from that you also sent. And the final one, Yeboah Benjamin, you say that Galamsey is not only in Ashanti region, almost all major polluted rivers are in central and the western regions.
And you remember recently the Ghana Water Company Limited gave that warning about its plant in Winneba and the fact that the water there, or the source of water, had been so polluted. They were considering shutting it down. Let's go to Tamale now because we have one more caller coming from there. Good morning to you. If you can tell us your name and what your issue is. Hopefully you're doing well this morning.
Yeah, good morning once again. I'm Mosquito Junior, Sister for Communication Officer. Hello?
I beg your pardon, Mosquito General.
Junior.
Yeah, Mosquito Junior.
Mosquito Junior. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Sister for Communication Officer.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. Kable.
Yes.
I think I agree with my brother Paul from Volta region. You see, fighting Galamsey, it is a collective responsibility. The government, I think, as my brother said, government alone cannot do anything, even declaring the state of emergency. Those who are crying, calling for that government to declare the state of emergency, supposing government to take the step to declare state of emergency today, and then it happened that the soldiers will go there and kill people. The next day, we will be the same people that will call out and criticize government and tell him how he sent soldiers there to start killing people. You know, Ghanaians, say we are hypocrites. We are hypocrites. So I will suggest, like my brother, that the government to engage the chief, the paramount chief, at this Galamsey zone, so that they will also come on board, so we can able to fight this menace. And the government alone cannot do anything. And the side of our election, you remember of a by election recently, when you people interview the citizens, what do they say? Some came out and said that if politicians don't give them money, they will not vote. Even our general election, this is what some of the people are saying, that if the politicians don't give them money, they will not vote. It is we who are influencing the politicians. Sometimes I don't blame the politicians fully. It is we ourselves that are influencing the politicians. Just like our brother, it was a regional or someone who called. Then he contested election. He came out, he poured out his manifesto, how he was willing to serve the people. But because he was not having money, they didn't vote him. So it is. So the people need money, even more than what the politicians are coming to do for us. So that is the reason why they are doing it. I think it's one point. Government, what I am foreseeing, and the government, it is two things you do for Ghana. And the first thing will be the thing of the past. Galamsey, and then LGBTQ. If NDC government under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is able to fight this cancer, Galamsey and LGBTQ, if NDC government is able to stop this evil cancer, then I believe NDC government will be the option for Ghanaians.
And he's gone right there. But yes, two major issues for him. The illegal mining issue, and of course, the other one we talked about earlier. So, yeah, people are really concerned. And I just love the renewed passion for us to deal with this illegal mining menace. But let's hope that this is sustained, because over the period, and this is not the first time, since last year, we talk about it, then we all kind of go to sleep and we come back when there's an issue. Hopefully we're able to sustain it, and we ourselves realize that this perhaps is the time to deal with the problem.
The timing this time around is very good, especially because last year, many thought that some were trying to make political capital out of the situation. And it's important that the key actors, the civil society groups that were at the forefront, are still the ones leading the conversation right after the elections, 8 months down the line.
Yeah.
They are calling out the president. And it's important because when it's around the election time, there is the danger that the government may not be tough because of the possible political implications.
Yeah,
as well.
Let's go to Alhaji Abdallah. Good morning to you, sir. How you doing? Where are you calling from? And what do you have to tell us?
Good morning, my sister. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. Tell us what's on your mind this morning.
Yes. My name is Alhaji Abdallah from Savannah region. My sister, let's be frank to each other. The reality is, if you step in any forest in Ghana, you did not inform anybody. Just step in any forest to take even half an acre to plant even a garden X. The chief will know. Or try and go to any forest belonging to any community that you are going to build a one-bedroom house. They will fish you out either to sell the land for you or to come and settle down. For a galamsey to go in a community where it will occupy a land more than 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. Remember, galamsey is not just like a farming where the place is silent.
Indeed.
Remember, a lot of noise. Some areas, they even use machines, very noisy machines. Are you going to tell me the chief don't know anything about that? No. The center stone to fight galamsey is the chiefs and assemblyman of the community. So government is afraid because the land belongs to the chiefs. The chiefs too will not tell the government because they get their commission from there. In reality, government should involve the mining community chiefs so that we can fight this canker. In fact, it's a disgrace to the whole nation, including myself, you, and any Ghanaian here. Even the most painful thing is for a foreigner, Nigerian, Chinese, to even come. If you travel to China, will you know where gold is? Will you know where their forest is? For them to come, we lead them, show them concessions. They go and mine, and we'll go and arrest these innocent people. But let's deal ourselves. The chiefs are responsible for everything. Thank you.
The chiefs are responsible for everything. Thank you so much, Alhaji, for calling us from the Savannah region. I love the ideas coming in this morning.
Yes.
For us to deal with the problem at
Yes,
hand.
Ghanaians are quite passionate about illegal mining. This message here from Prince Henry from Koforidua. You say that galamsey fight should be collective, devoid of politics. I support the call that chiefs must be proactive in the fight against galamsey. And you end by saying, God bless President John Mahama and the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. Some other messages on our Facebook portal here. Justice Yosa Conlan, you say that some of the chiefs are deeply involved and benefit from the activities of illegal miners. And unless and until they change it, it will be difficult to fight the menace. Secondly, government must be committed to pay realistic wages and salaries because some of the owners of concessions are public servants who are not paid well and forced into galamsey. Another one here. Okay, I think a lot of you are, for some weird reasons, people are going after the chiefs. This morning, Yeboah Benjamin, you say that the thousands of excavators that were told were to be conveyed to the military post. Who are they for? How were they shipped in? And what are they going to be used for? Authorities must get talking. And Prudential Livingston, you are commenting on the issues surrounding the campaign financing. You say that we must pay serious attention to what's happening in Nigeria. Democracy has been monetized for many decades. They are today finding it extremely difficult to hold their elected officials accountable. We have some more calls, Beatrice.
Indeed, we do have Prince from Ministries calling us this morning. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on New Day.
Yeah, good morning to TV3 Newday.
What's on your mind? Tell us.
Yes, I would like to comment on current government, taking initiatives to continue, projects initiated by the previous government. Now, we've had this problem for some time now. Current administration is trying to complete those projects. Back then, it wasn't like that. The government will start something, they don't finish it up. But here lies the case. It's your taxes and my taxes that are, being used to carry out this project. So I think it's a very good initiative the NDC is trying to, take. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. So we've had our first call on the big push, what we talked about earlier, and that was launched by the president yesterday. But if you, again, listen to the communication of government officials, it looks like this year the major priority will be on roads as well. I mean, we had Deputy Roads Minister joining us on Agenda the other time, telling us about $10 million alone going to be dedicated to roads and ensuring that at least we have some considerably good roads wherever we find ourselves.
Yes, I mean, yesterday the president said that he assured the contractor, he says the money is sitting in the banks, they shouldn't worry at all. And I mean, in the last month, I've moved to different parts of the country. I've gone to Volta, I've gone to the Ashanti and Western. All the roads are bad. They're under construction, but we just hope that they're able to sort all of that well quickly.
That will make traveling within the country quite interesting and more comfortable. But we're crossing over to 3FM now. Johnny Hughes is standing by with Johnny's Bite. Stay with us.
Run it over and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Wednesday, the 17th of September. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. Let me pause and say thank you to all our friends who are in the trotros and the taxis, all our friends who are going to the bank, all the friends who are going to the law offices, all our friends who are engineers. We appreciate every one of you, especially those in the diaspora who spend time to engage with us. We appreciate you immensely, and we pray that you do not waver in your confidence about the fact that things can change. Yesterday, I meant to tell those of you who watch us on TV3 that since we spoke about the tomato issues, the President of the Republic, who listens and hears the concerns of the people, actually ordered that all those tomatoes from Asante Achim North should be put out there in the schools to feed the children, to give them the nutritional benefit that they deserve. Thank you, Mr. President. But Oliver Twist will always ask for more. We need a factory. We need the factories around the country. We were promised factories. We are told there are factories. But if you look at the breakfast table you have this morning, and you look at the flour that was used to bake your bread, the butter or the margarine that you are consuming, or the butter that was used for your bread, the margarine, the sugar, the milk, you know that really we have not reached there. What we are doing now is just to import and impoverish ourselves, which is a problem. Let me say thank you to Sonar Fashions in Tamale for my outfit. 0246 590162 at 0246 590162, and he makes very, very good clothing. You should find out about it and call him and enjoy. Now, I hear some noises about Galamsey. There's a post I made in 2024 on Facebook. Yesterday, somebody tagged me and said, you made this post. And this was when the Catholic Church, which we call the church, embarked on a demonstration against illegal mining in this country. And we joined the demonstration because we had perfect conviction in our minds that Galamsey is a big canker. So I said on 11th of October 2024 that the church is demonstrating against the government to stop Galamsey. Whose side are you on? 11th October 2024. The church is demonstrating against the government to stop Galamsey. Whose side are you on? I asked that simple question. Yesterday, somebody, whether by mischief or by goodwill, the tongue of a good report or bad report, decided that would remind me. I still stand with the church. I'm still on the church's side. The government has to ensure that Galamsey becomes a thing of the past, because we know what it is doing to us, and we know how it is hurting us, And we know how it is making us all suffer. But because of some dirty politics, whether within your private spaces or your social interactions or your professional interactions, we know that people want to use that as a basis to suggest to everybody else that the government is not doing anything about Galamsey. Perhaps you are forgetting. And people say, oh, why are you talking about the old government? People call my show and say, why are you talking about the old government? Talk about the new government. If you do not know your history, you cannot know your future. You must learn from your history to be able to take charge of your future. The past government had 8 years. The president of the republic promised us that he would put his presidency on the line. Did he do that? We had Operation Galam Stop Operation, Halt 1 and 2 Operation, this, that. We set up an interministerial mining, interministerial committee against illegal mining. 10 ministers were put there, 10 cabinet ministers. Even cabinet decided that, no, let's stamp illegal mining, let's stop it. Then some minister went and actually went to parliament to give them a law to allow for us to mine, legal and legislative instrument, to allow them to mine in forest reserves. We kept quiet about it. I showed you the cabinet letter, and I showed you the law. So why should we not talk about the past? Because if you say A and you don't say B, you have failed. And that is why people on the street are saying that, look, President Mahama and his government, while in opposition, promised us that they will impose a state of emergency. So why are they dilly-dallying? The minister, acting minister for Environment, Science and Technology, the Honorable Dr. Kofi Kofi has said that, look, I have written to the Attorney General to get a say-so, so that this LI that allows for people to mine in forest reserves is not modified, but it is completely erased from the face of our laws. And you still think that is not enough to begin with? Of course, the government has a responsibility to ensure that there's a state of emergency. They promised us that. They must do that. Galamsey is a canker that is hurting all of us. Children are being born with deformities. Children are being born with defects. And it is not good. People are dying of kidney diseases, liver diseases. People are dying just because a few greedy men and women, as I've come to learn now, are trying to make ends meet using the wrong route. Now, let's go to the learned Chief Justices, Acting Chief Justices, His Lordship Justice Paul Bafoboni, what he said at the bar conference. And I've seen, as my chief mentor, KKD, gave me that poem by Rudyard Kipling called If. There's a line in it that whatever you say will be twisted by knaves, and the twisting is too much. So I'll read to you verbatim what he said. He says, Galamsey has stripped away topsoil and vegetation, leading to severe erosion and rendering land unusable for farming. The landscape of affected communities is scarred by excavation, leaving it barren and prone to further damage. Socially, it has contributed to the displacement of farmers, farmlands, and whole families, and converted to mining sites. It has also increased poverty and potential health issues due to contaminated water and mercury exposure, impacting food security and the livelihoods of several local communities. Economically, while providing some income, the environmental damage and shift from agriculture has led to high living costs and lower food production in affected regions. How can we also forget the national security challenges brought about by the menace of Galamsey, as the influx of illegal miners, often accompanied by foreigners, have been linked to an increase in criminal activities in affected communities. The repeal and replacement of the small-scale gold mining law, PNDC Law 218, in 1989 by the Minerals and Mining Act 703 in 2006 provides a more comprehensive and regulatory framework for small-scale mining, has not eliminated illegal small-scale mining. Indeed, in the years after, Galamsey has become worse as the measures we have employed to combat Galamsey seem half-hearted and unable to curb this menace, which is a threat to the country's survival. Considering the unspeakable death, pain, and destruction that Galamsey has brought to this country, I urge political leadership to take bold and far-reaching measures to bring this menace to a long overdue end. We cannot continue to differ in September 2025 on the repeal of Environmental Protection Mining and Forest Reserve Regulations 2022 LI 2462, and this LI was passed by the past administration against the cabinet decision, which has permitted mining in forest reserves. It is a good place to start if we sincerely want to win the war against Galamsey. The time is to act. The time to act is now without further delay. Now, its effects are well known and well documented. Galamsey has devastated our environment and continues to do so by polluting rivers, destroying forests and fertile farmlands, and degrading soil. Galamsey is a major cause of water pollution in Ghana, with rivers like Pra and Cobra and the Brim becoming lifeless and murky. This is due to the dumping of waste and the use of toxic chemicals like mercury, which transform into highly toxic methyl mercury. The Ghana Water Company Limited continues to warn of a severe water crisis in the near future if immediate action is not taken to address the problem. Now, you have read this. You have heard it. Maybe you did not pay attention to it initially, but now you have. What did the learned Chief Justice say wrong, which has already not been said by Imani, by Awula Sewa, by Kenashibe, Engineer Togbi, Dr. Kenashibe, and everybody who is concerned about this menace against Galamsey? What are people, even in the past government, the great Titus Glover wants to become organizer of the NPP, what did he not say? He said Galamsey, the fight against Galamsey is becoming difficult because his own party people are the problem. And we know that Professor Frimpong Boateng wrote a report. So why are we twisting it and creating an impression that the learned acting Chief Justice is trying to lock horns with the government and whatever? He's saying the truth. The truth is only one. What the learned Chief Justice has said, I have said it here too many times. In the past, in the present. He is not speaking any lies. And I like what the learned Attorney General said. It appears, and I'm repeating what I said yesterday, that our Ghana Bar Association, the voices on the streets, because I am on the street, the voices on the street seem to suggest that the Ghana Bar Association loses its voice when a certain administration is in power and regains its voice noisily when another administration is in power. It is a perception. Whether it is real or whether it is perceived, it is there. It is there. Now, let's read Godwin Edudji-Tamaklo, who is the boss at MPA and also the director legal at the NDC. Listen to what he said. He said, Ghana is such an interesting country. I've listened to the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Mrs. Efwagati, at the opening ceremony for the annual conference at WA. Among others, she's advocating for constitutional instrument to regulate the determination of prima facie case provided for in Article 146. Very interesting advocacy from her views are not different from those who defended the removed Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu in the impeachment process. The argument was that since there was no CI to regulate the determination of prima facie case, among others, the entire process was a nullity. In fact, in one of the cases before the Supreme Court, relative to this impeachment proceedings, one of the reliefs had to do with an invitation to Supreme Court to halt the impeachment proceedings because of the lack of a CI. The GBA appears to have joined the chorus. Sometimes, at the risk of sounding disrespectful, we appear not to have principles in a national discourse. It is all about political convenience without. When the Bar Association speaks, we must see some national interest in the message, but it appears that the Bar Association has weaponized the esteemed platform for political grandstanding. The last time I checked, I'm a member of the GBA in good standing. At least I don't owe dues. The selectivity in the approach of the GBA is making the Bar Association lose a very important and critical voice in the forward march of the country. Why do I say I call it selectively? In 2018, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo received petition for the removal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, a very crucial constitutional body with the sole authority to manage public elections in Ghana. President Akufo-Addo, I won't call him Mr. Akufo-Addo, I don't find it respectful, then posited that he was just a conveyor belt and referred the petitions to the Chief Justice then, Justice Sophia Akufu, who is a member of the Council of State, who sat within the meeting, heard the arguments for and against per Article 146 against the removed Chief Justice, and still went before the committee, per record that we have, to go and be a witness. You can make the deduction yourself. I am not a lawyer, so I am not qualified to make so. Ignore her familiar ties to the president and focus on the law. She, pursuant to Article 146 of the Constitution, made a prima facie determination and set up Justice Anthony Benin-led committee to inquire into the petitions. The committee, in a 3-2 decision, recommended the removal of Mrs. Charlotte Osei from office for stated misbehavior. What was it? Procurement irregularity. Late Justice Samuel Mafosan, Agnes Doji, Abrampa, in the majority, with Justice Benin, the chair, dissenting. Following the removal of Mrs. Charlotte Osei, his journalist Kweku Bako approached the Supreme Court invoking its original jurisdiction to interpret and enforce the Constitution. I have attached some of the relevant reliefs, I'll show you that tomorrow, and the ruling of the Supreme Court. From the reliefs attached, he sought to question the impeachment process in the absence of the CI to regulate the exercise of discretion, among others. When the matter came up for hearing on the 5th of February 2019, the Deputy Attorney General then, Godfred Yeboah-Dami, raised a preliminary legal challenge to the writ and reliefs, arguing that it was not a proper case to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Kindly read the unanimous ruling of the Supreme Court. I'll share that with you tomorrow. The court agreed and dismissed the suit. Today, the president of the GBA, or the GBA president, mindful of the events above, has found her voice and now advocating for a CI. When the Supreme Court in 2019 dismissed the Kweku Bako suit, the GBA went quiet. There was no noise about the lack of a CI to regulate Article 146 proceedings. The GBA needs serious introspection and see how it can remain relevant going forward. Kwekwaza, written. And that's Professor Asari. I will end the sermon here. Enough has been said. Make your own deductions. If you accuse me and a committee is formed And Sixtus, Helen, and Corey, and Fosti, and the rest are the committee. And I am supposed to appear before them. But they have heard the arguments for and against. They have argued against it and agreed that there's a question that I must answer. And then one of them leaves, maybe Helen leaves, and now comes to stand behind me to say, I will defend you because I have an argument. But in the initial stage said, I'm abstaining after hearing the arguments. Make your own deductions. Point number 2. The learned acting Chief Justice has not said anything that has not been said before. Those who are interested in, if you are really interested in fighting Galamsey, I have told you, let's chase the people who import the excavators and blah, blah, blah into the country. Let's find the big boys. He has not said anything wrong. And it cannot be said that because he has said that he's locking horns with the government and so somebody will go and engineer for him to be removed. No, no, no. Please. Stay put. He has not said anything wrong. The only thing he has said is that political leadership must take up the whip and go and end Galamsey, which is what we have all been saying. Even the labor unions who chickened out during the last administration, the previous administration, they chickened out when we were asking them to go on strike. When they themselves came to tell us that they were going on strike, and they postponed it, transposed it, and re-postponed it.
Staying with us here on New Day on TV3. It's time for the discussion segment, and we'll start off the conversation with the issues surrounding campaign, financing, cost of elections, legal framework, all those matters is what we'll be discussing. And the context is that report that has been put out by the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, which looks at how the cost is going up significantly and what it means. I mean, campaign financing is a very age-long conversation, but the numbers just keep going up, and particularly in a manner that is not very transparent in terms of how the political parties are being financed. There's a simple legal framework that requires them to publish their accounts, but I mean that is even not happening, even though the publication requirements are not as detailed as one would expect it to be, but the parties are still refusing to comply. So that is what we'll deal with, and if we have adequate time, we'll touch on the issue of Galamsey once again. It's a topical matter that is not ending anytime soon, and so that is what we'll be doing this morning. My guest in the studio we have the set, the pair is intact this time around. Last week, Dr. Joshua Zato did not show up, but of course he had very serious and important matters to deal with. Doc, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, thank you. I like the way you put it, like you did not show up.
I know, right? Yeah, but I mean, earlier on, I was saying that I had seen you were in the regions. You were in the regions,
I wasn't in the regions. I was home. I was in Tumu.
Okay.
I'd gone home, and I was supposed.
Yeah, but I saw a video of you. I mean, you know how these days we see the celebrities when they get out from the car and the camera is following them. Yes. That was the video I saw on TikTok.
I am not a celebrity.
I'm coming. Let me finish. The video I saw of you, you go down from this powerful car. The camera follows him from the car all the way into the studio. Is that correct?
I'm not a celebrity too. I'm just a poor university lecturer who went back home, and then I decided that, well, enough of the national media, let me talk to the local radio stations.
Okay.
That's what I just did.
That's fine.
I was just doing that.
That's fine.
Don't feed any mischief to Solomon, because he's sitting there, the head is spinning, he's looking at, talking about cars and whether, no.
Okay.
No mischief here today. I was just home. I just went to the radio station, Sesala Radio in Tumu, and Radford Radio in Tumu, two wonderful radio stations doing God's work and helping with community development. I just went to lend my voice to community development. That was all I did.
Okay. Another person who is doing God's work today in pink, Solomon Owusu.
Exactly.
Senior communicator.
What is it with pink?
Good to see you once again.
What are you celebrating? What is it with pink?
You just did a good rendition this morning by exposing the bourgeois you have on this platform. The man is rich, so it shouldn't surprise you. That's what he has been doing. But those of us from the movement who are soliciting for the Ghanaian vote from the poor background, you continue to plead with the Ghanaian that they look at those of us that associate with them and not the bourgeois, and then give us the mandate.
Okay. If you want to get cash like some of the names that have come up so far, let me show you how to do that. Cash out, participate in cash out at *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform and enter, and you can win some good money. We are giving 1,000 cedis to about 10 individuals today, so participate in this very important part of the show as well, and you can win some good money, and maybe you'll be going to the regions and doing big interviews with radio stations there. So that is the announcement for you. But also in the studio is Eric Edem Agbana, Mr. President, like I call him, was my SLC president at the University of Ghana, MP for Ketu North. Thank you for joining us as always.
Thank you. And he's also a vandal, so...
No, he was a Opo. He was an Opo, yes.
Sorry.
But during this election, he paired with a vandal.
That's what they try to do. You know, they come to try to do that.
It was an interesting one.
In the history of the University of Ghana, I'm probably the only Okpo mate who got over 70% vote in the Vanda city. Okay. So that should tell you.
So you're always grateful for the Vandals.
I was a formidable candidate.
And joining us on Zoom as well, Dr. John Osai Kwapon is a Democracy and Development Fellow with CDD Ghana. Dr. Osai Kwapon, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning once again.
Good morning to you. My pleasure. Good morning to your guest in the studio as well.
I'll start with you, Doc, on Zoom. But first, let me share with the viewers an important part of the data put out by your outfit. Let's look at the numbers, what the numbers are looking at in terms of the cost of elections. And you see that the figures are quite significant. And so for a member of parliament now, we are looking at 4 million cedis. That's 4 million cedis. And there's a breakdown for this. First, you'd have to nurture the constituency for about 2 million. Then the next layer would be the running for the general election proper, the general election campaign. And so you have to start off first, you nurture the constituency. Then the second aspect is the general election campaign proper also 2 million. So that brings you to 4 million. For the presidency, and the report says that to stand a chance with the main parties, that is the NPP and the NDC, this is what we are looking at, 575 million. That translates to about $100 million. And the report says that a rising cost was found to be linked to both the demand-driven and supply side of corruption. And it has led to an upsurge of dirty money with campaign funding. The study identified 9 financiers of political parties and candidate campaigns who were engaged in criminality, which included activities of serious and organized crime. And these activities included illegal mining, oil distribution, fraudulent businesses, procurement infractions, and its associated kickbacks and award of contracts. And let me start with Dr. Osai-Kwapong, like I said. And Doc, I would want us to put the conversation within a certain understanding. A lot of the times, we focus on the cost of the elections, but what we generally, in my opinion, we tend to mean is beyond the cost, because it's expensive, the political parties and the candidates must find money. That is two. And because they are looking for money and we don't have a robust legal framework, it means that they get money from whatever sources. Then also those sources, because of the lack of the framework, it's not transparent. Then there's the bit about what they actually spend the money on. Is that the appreciation in terms of what the plane looks like that we have to have the conversation within?
Yes, good morning once again. Thank you very much. So one of the things that I always like to put in context when questions about campaign finance, political party finance comes up is that it's not as though there's not a recognition that there is a role for money or financial resources in politics. After all, our 2 main political parties, to be able to do the things they do and keep being a party of a national nature, definitely would need financial resources. They've set up very elaborate administrative structures that helps them run the party on a day-to-day basis. And most importantly, also allows them to be competitive when elections roll around. So that recognition, for me, it's very important to step up front that, yes, definitely they would need financial resources to be able to compete. The concern is, one, as you pointed out, how increasingly it's becoming costly to participate not just in internal party elections, but also to participate in national elections. That cost is becoming very exorbitant. And the question you have to ask yourself is this the kind of entry barriers to participation in our democratic politics and electoral contestations that we want to keep promoting? Because for me, it creates this idea that office holding goes to the highest bidder. It is also problematic when you have a legal framework that is not the most robust when it comes to enforcement and transparency. So all we hear every so often is person A is a party financier, person B got money from this source or that source. But you can't even authenticate some of these sources and where some of these monies are coming from. I always argue, and not even just within the Ghanaian context, but even within the US context where I live, if someone gives $100 to a political party or a candidate for office, I can agree that it is out of the goodness of their heart, their care for the candidate, their care for the country. But there are certain amounts of money that when you donate to a political party or to a candidate, it's very hard to convince me that you're doing it solely for the love of democracy and love for the candidate. And so when there's not transparency and these costs are going up, whoever is financing or whichever persons, organizations are financing these candidates, you also have to ask yourself, what motivating them, and what do they want in return. So if you put all of those things together, then you have to be really concerned that it is costing this much to run for office in an environment where enforcement of the rules around party financing has quite a number of loopholes, as well as the lack of transparency.
And Doc, where do you stand? Would you blame it directly on the legal framework that we have in place? And I'm asking because we have a law that says that only citizens of Ghana may make a contribution or donation to a political party registered in Ghana. Then the law also prohibits funds from foreign sources as well. So a non-citizen shall not directly or indirectly make a contribution or donation. Those are some of the key legal frameworks that we have in place. But there are those who will say that there is also, because, and your report identifies it, the demand and the supply side of it. So they will say that no matter how robust the legal framework is, people will still go around it. Which of them would you say accounts for more of what we are seeing happening?
So you're right. Both the demand side, meaning the expectations of the ordinary voter when candidates are campaigning for office. We often hear this narrative, for example, during party primaries, that it's the cocoa season for delegates. So we've created also an electoral politics culture where running for office includes providing incentives to those from whom you seek votes, even though, again, the law is very clear on these prohibitions. And for me, it boils down to an issue of enforcement. If you're unable to even enforce your existing framework, despite some of the challenges and loopholes that candidates or parties can circumvent, then you're going to have this issue of we don't know where the money is coming from. We don't know who is giving it. Citizens, non-citizens. You just don't know. The cost of running for office, again, is also not just solely driven by the legal framework in place. I think it does cost money. I mean, if you think of adverts that political parties, candidates want to run, how much these radio or TV stations may charge for a 30-second, a 1-minute ad. I'm not sure what the rates are in Ghana, but in a place like the US, sometimes a party or a candidate could be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars just for a 30-second or a 1-minute ad to run in selected states. So those administrative costs for me are real. That must be confronted. But even as you think through these administrative costs, you also have to ask yourself, what are the more legitimate ways of funding parties and candidates in such a way that, again, transparency is what drives it. In the US, I can just simply go onto the Federal Election Commission website. I can pull up a candidate's name. I can pull up groups that support candidates or parties. I can pull up political parties, and I can tell exactly how much they've given to a given candidate when, over how many years. Candidates will tell you where they've been raising money from, because any violations of those campaign finance laws are seriously punished. One small infraction in not reporting these things come with serious consequences. And so if you do not enforce the existing legal framework in an electoral politics culture where we seem to accept that money has to play all kinds of legitimate and illegitimate roles, this is what you end up with.
And finally, Doc, on the recommendations that are in this report, I mean, you raised the legal challenge, you've already touched on that, the reforms, and you've also mentioned enforcement. There's an interesting one. You talk about the Auditor General, the possibility of having an understanding with the parties to audit their books. The parties are not going to allow that.
Yes, you're right. I don't think the parties would allow that, except that the law also says the parties would submit audited accounts at the end of a given year, but also at the end of an election year. We would have to be able to trust. I am willing to trust that if Party A selects a given auditing company to audit and present the accounts, that you would trust that those auditors would really represent what the parties have done or haven't done with regards to their financial resources. The other idea that I have always been a supporter of, but the political appetite is not there anymore, is some kind of state financing of political parties. Whenever I raise this, some of my friends meet me with outrage because in their mind, no, political parties should find ways to raise their own money. But about 15 years ago, when CDD asked this question in a survey around some kind of state support for political parties, there was a good public support for it. At least over 50-something% were open to the idea of some kind of state financing of political parties. But fast forward to Afrobarometer Round 9 in 2022, there's strong opposition to any kind of state support of political parties, which means that in this kind of political environment where the appetite is not there among the public, to try and raise the idea of can the state also step in as we try to clean up the campaign finance regime, that can the state step in with some kind of both monetary and non-monetary support, would not get any strong support from the public. Okay. But if we can find a good way of doing that, it is something that I personally would strongly consider.
Doc, I'll come back to you to wrap up. Let me come into the studio, and I want to start with Edem in the middle. The figures that the CDD put out there, they make reference to about 4 million. If you want to, they said if I want to enter parliament like you, about 4 million cedis. How cedis? Yes, 4 million cedis. If you convert it to dollars, well, it's too small. The way you said the 4 million. Well, how difficult financially was getting into parliament?
Joe, let me say good morning to my brothers on the panel with me this morning and to our cherished viewers across the world. And I want to spend at least a minute or two to talk about the Big Push projects, because I really was surprised that did not feature in the topics that we are discussing this morning.
In fact, we picked on it during the news, and we also did it on the call-in segment.
Yes, but I think it's important because the Newday program, I can tell you, is one of the most patronized programs, political programs we have in the country. And there are thousands of people who stay at home at 7 a.m. just to watch us before they even move out to fight for daily bread. And so it's important for us to discuss. Yesterday, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was in the Volta regional capital of Ho to cut sword for the commencement of the Big Push road projects. I was there, so I'm actually just driving in from there this morning. And Joe, yesterday's program gave hope to many of us that indeed political campaigns sometimes, or in most often, are not just big promises that politicians who make promises during campaigns, they get voted for, and we don't see commitment to fulfillment of those promises. Because the number of roads mentioned by the roads minister and also by the president as containing the roads that they intend to use our oil resources to fund that infrastructure, I think that is commendable. We must commend the president, commend the government, and commend the minister for roads and his deputy. Joe, when you look at the Aflao to Ho road, that entire corridor holds potentials for economic transformation. And traveling between Aflao or Joje to Ho currently it's such a difficult journey. Ideally, with a good road, it is possible to spend maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes on that road.
Okay.
But currently, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours, and the road, that stretch is so bad.
Okay.
During the NPP administration, they promised us under the year of Road 1 and year of Road Phase 2 that they were going to construct those roads. And nothing went on the road. But today, in less than 9 months, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government have not only come to cut sod, but even ahead of the sod cutting, contractors moved to site and work has begun on those roads.
Okay.
That road in particular connects about 6 different constituencies: Ketu South, Ketu North, Akachi North, Agoti Meziopi, Ho Central, Adaklu, and many other communities are connected.
Okay.
There are many farmers along that road. And again, because the Akanu border, which is the major transit point for goods coming in from Nigeria, Benin, Niger, Togo, comes through the Akanu border, which is located in my constituency.
Okay.
That road is a very important economic road.
All right.
And I'm happy that we are committing resources to it. Again, you look at the fact that beyond the Volta region, we have major road projects going on in other parts of the country. And so we did not need a president to come and announce that it is year of roads. But I can tell you that every region, across all 16 regions of this country, under the Big Push programs, major roads are being constructed, other roads have been rehabilitated, and even town roads. Yesterday, the president mentioned a number of roads in my constituency and other constituencies that he intends or government has budgeted for. Look, transport is a very important aspect of our economy.
Okay.
Because it is what connects the various sectors. And so it's important for us to discuss. My prayer is that beyond these first 4 years of President Mahama, the next NDC administration will, in addition to roads, because by the next 4 years, most of the roads will have been constructed by President Mahama and the Honorable Agboja. And so beyond this first term, the next NDC administration will now add on the railway system and others so that we address the challenge of transportation, because transportation is a very important sector. And I will encourage you to delve deep into the Big Push program and let's discuss it, because we have seen a president and a government that has decided to put the resources of this country to good use. I mean, by going on the road.
We'll do that.
That's just by way of.
I agree with you. And I mean, earlier on when we were discussing it on this morning segment, I was making a point that in the last 3 months, I've gone to Western, Volta, and Ashanti, and it's interesting. All the main roads out of Accra, they are all under construction.
Yes.
They are not good roads.
Yes.
And so I can imagine it was very difficult. I didn't enjoy the journey.
Yes.
But you can imagine if all these roads are completed.
Yeah. So the president made a passionate appeal yesterday that the whole country will be turned into a construction scene. In previous months or years, we saw the country was a crime scene.
Okay.
Today it has become a construction scene.
That's fine. So
we plead with drivers and passengers to bear with us that we are committed to constructing the roads and getting the roads in good shape. Okay. It may come with some level of inconvenience, but they should bear with us.
All right.
Moving to the issue of political party
the
financing.
question I asked was the 4 million. Was it too small? How difficult was it financially to get into parliament?
I think it depends. It depends on the constituency, and it also depends on who you are up against in the contest. I want us to be very, very, very sincere in this discussion. When you are running against a candidate that is not spending much, it is likely that you may also not spend much, because I tell my team that your speed is determined by what is chasing you. So sometimes you go for a political or an event, a social event. If your opponent is making a donation of, say, 10,000 Ghana cedis, even if you programmed or in your mind you budgeted to give, say, 1,000 Ghana cedis, in order not to allow such a huge disparity. No, not necessarily. Sometimes you just want to either get closer or at least half what a candidate is doing. So it is important to have this conversation, situating it properly in context. Joe, the truth is that political campaigns in Ghana have become extremely expensive, very expensive. And if you ask me, the biggest challenge I faced in my journey to becoming a member of parliament, I'll tell you that it is funding. Finance, we have made politics simply to explain.
I want to understand the campaign cost.
Yes.
What are you spending on?
So you begin even with the internal primaries. It's sometimes in some constituencies, internal primaries are even more expensive than the general elections.
Yes, I can imagine your constituency.
Because especially constituencies that are strongholds. And so if you were contesting for parliamentary primaries in say Menchia on the ticket of MPP, you are likely to spend more in the primaries than you spend in the general elections, because the probability that the moment you win the primaries, then you are heading to parliament. And so many more people put in a lot of resources into the primaries. It is the same for Ketu North, Ketu South on the ticket of the NDC.
When you're starting out, what items are you spending on?
Now, you start by consulting. We call it stakeholder engagement. You need to visit the executives. There are some past party executives who, they are no more even delegates, but they have influence on the process. You have to go and greet them. You have to go and see them. And I tell people that, Joe, let's have this conversation in a very sincere manner. That even our culture, that you cannot go and greet a chief, or there's a way we say it. Exactly. And so when you go see those elders, those influencers, those stakeholders, you definitely will not go empty-handed. And it may be small, but when you look at the number of people that you are speaking to, so in my constituency, currently I have about 148 branches. So 9 times 148. When you go into every branch, there are stakeholders. Some of them you have to go to the chiefs in those communities. They are not delegates, but sometimes they have an influence on the process. And so yes, my target is Sulu, who is a delegate, but I have to first greet his chief and announce to the chief that I am in his community to campaign. So you form a team. People will be going around. You have to send your message across and all of that. Again, when people are going into elections, whether at the branch level, because those people eventually are going to determine your fate. Some will come to you for support. At the constituency level, they will come to you for support. And so you spend on all of these things. So a lot of people look at the cost only with the assumption that the money is going directly into people's hand. Maybe you are giving the money to delegates. But in most cases, it is not even just that. Again, for many of the communities, as soon as you declare your interest or intentions, ambition of contesting, whatever challenges that the community is confronted with, they will come to you for support. So Joe, a community is building, or let's say even preparing a land or a ground for cemetery, they will come to you for support. Somebody has been admitted at the hospital and maybe the situation is critical. They need a huge amount of money. Sometimes the entire community will sit together and suggest that let us approach the individuals who are contesting, and everybody will have to give something a little and all of that. So you spend.
All of that is outside the logistics that you need actually.
Exactly.
Your cars,
so there are many.
Your T-shirts.
Exactly. I will come there. So I'm just telling you the items that are not directly involved with the campaign that we don't see. That's why I am thinking, in all honesty, that maybe the CDD's projections may be too modest. Because these are not even directly the logistical needs towards the campaign. You spend on the many other things. School fees and other, and you have to do it.
So how do you raise the funds now?
Great. Before that, then we now go to the logistics.
Okay.
Motorbikes, because you are sending people to go campaign for you in all of these areas. You need to buy vehicles, pickups, sometimes 4, 5, 6. You need all of that. And T-shirts, you need to organize the delegates. if people leave their work, okay, to come and meet you. Sometimes they transport themselves because you may not be able to visit all these communities at a go. So you group them, or in clusters, you meet them in clusters. If they pick motorbike or pick a taxi to come and meet you, you will not just allow them to go like that. That is it. You need to give them transportation. So all of these things put together makes the cost of running campaigns very, very expensive. How do you raise the money? We know that per our system, the laws may not be sufficient in defining how to raise funding for political campaigns, because when you read the law, like you read, it's mostly about non-Ghanaians or foreigners being prevented or prohibited from supporting the campaign. But the question is, who regulates how Ghanaians also get involved in political party financing? So every candidate decides on how they intend to raise their funds. Some of us have been extremely transparent with how we raise funds. And that is why, right from the very day I wanted to go to Parliament, I never brag. And you never hear me say, I am resourceful because I have money. I'm able to produce this amount. I'm able to buy this car. I'm able to do A, B, C, and D. I will tell you that I have a network of friends who can support. So what I did, when I was running for Deputy National Youth Organizer, and I will share the flyer with you so you project it on the screen. My team came up with the idea that I have lots of friends and young people who look up to you, young people who are inspired by what you do, and young people who support the cause. Get them to contribute a little into the campaign. And so we developed a short code, and I can get the software developers to give you an account of how much funds we raised through that. People were putting in tokens, 5 cities, 10 cities, 20 cities, and all of that. Again in 2024, then I also had a fundraising dinner with friends. Organized my friends, some from the university, some from places I've worked, some in other networks, and they all came and they supported. And people made some donations of that nature. Then you also have a situation where, as a candidate, people will call you and tell you that, I see you are running to be MP in Ketu North. I know this may be little, but I want to support you with a motorbike. I want to support you with that. I want to support you with this. There were also people who were ready to make available their vehicles, maybe pickups, for the entire duration of the campaign, after which you have to return it and all of that.
Just hold on for me. I'll come back to you on so that you land still on the sources of revenue and raising the money for the elections. Let me bring in Doc now, then, so that before I come back to you, Doc. I mean, what I'm hearing, I don't think I can get into Parliament.
Thank you very much. I want to continue something he has started by praising the government on the initiative the president launched, is it last week or this week?
The big push.
The president ordered that the Ministry of Finance or Agri should purchase about 1,000 boxes of tomatoes to feed HSS students. I think the president did that because there's almost a tomato glut in the market. Farmers were losing value, farmers were losing money. And so I think the idea behind this order by the president was that go inside there, offer the farmers a guaranteed price, buy it, use it to feed secondary school students. It's a very good project. I laud it. I thank the government for that. But my question is, why stop at tomatoes? Why stop at onions? Right now, as I speak to you, if you go to Tumu, if you go to Walanja, if you go to Saka, if you go to Chalo, if you go to Nablo, if you go to Basisa, if you go to Kunchok, if you go to any of the areas where the best maize in the world is cultivated, that is on Sesala land. I'm talking about from Lambuse, Sesala, where Sesala is west. That's where the best maize in the world is. There's a glut of maize too. Last year by this time, this month in Sesala is called Banchane, September. You could sell 1 bag of maize and buy 1 bag of fertilizer. You could do that. And farmers do that. Farmers, they have a way of organizing these things. So at this time, they will sell the produce they have, buy the fertilizer, apply to the crop on the field, and still leave some to feed for the lean season. This year, a bag of maize in Tumu right now is going for around 380 cedis. A bag of fertilizer is going for almost 550 to 600 cedis. So you will need at least 2 bags of maize to try to buy 1 bag of fertilizer. What it means is that most farmers cannot afford to buy fertilizer. The prices of the maize is down. You could say it's good for consumers. But at the same time, the price of fertilizer is there. All the subsidy the government had for it is gone. There's no subsidy. So what farmers are staring at is to make 2 things. Should we keep this maize and feed in the lean season, or we should sell everything and buy fertilizer for the crop on the field? The government can do exactly what they did for the maize farmers, for the onion, for the maize farmers. The government can go inside, they give a guaranteed price for maize. What you simply do is just like this, say, look, I want to buy this amount of, because every secondary school in Ghana is Banku or Kenki, and Kolong, depending upon where you are at TZ. The prisons, they eat the same thing. Every boarding facility eat these things. The government can go and do exactly, replicate this formula in Sisala West, other places, and help poor farmers out. Because the farmers are suffering. Go also do a similar thing, because don't be selective in choosing that, oh, I want to help maize farmers, or I don't want to help onion farmers. I want to help maize farmers, I don't want to help tomato farmers. Help all farmers. Government, go inside there right now. The farmers will be happy. The farmers will praise you. The farmers will come and worship you. And it will be a good thing. So politically, it will be good. So I'm just hoping that the government replicates the same things and help these farmers out. Because I was in Tumu over the weekend. And that's the biggest crier here, wherever I go. In fact, the small fertilizer that went there, they shared it along Patrick. Look, don't do this.
No,
I got
news for you.
No, don't worry.
It's an information
Okay,
I'm
so
sure you can give your farmers.
let me also do this, and before I come the funding.
Okay.
So that was the number one concern.
Okay.
People
I
are saying,
think you've made a point.
no, don't do this. Yes. When you was making the point, you didn't tell him made the point. This guy spoke for more than 30 minutes. You didn't say anything. Let me just make the point. Secondly, so please.
Hold on, Doc.
Okay.
I'm
giving you an information.
The farmers are suffering. I just want to buttress that point. They are suffering to my need.
So let me give you information, then you tell them in your local dialect. Okay, no problem.
I didn't give information. Secondly, when it comes to the Great Push, I want to thank you, and I think you are lucky. Your constituency people are very lucky that your roads have started. I'm happy. I use the same road. I use the Wa Heng Jeffrey Tumu road. And I just used it on Tuesday. That road has stayed the same way. So I'm happy that the big push has started with your places doing. The characteristics you were mentioning about your roads are the same on this road I'm talking about. One, this road connects more than 7-8 constituencies. Two, unfortunately, all of them are NDC constituencies.
Which road is that?
Wa Heng Jeffrey Tumu Chuchulega to Navrongo Road.
Okay.
It connects all and almost all these constituencies I've mentioned are in this constituency of Wonder.
Good news.
Two. This road also connects, if you are coming from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso to Ghana, it is the shortest route if you want to come to part. And most of them do that. 3, this road produces the best maize in the world. Did I say that? If this morning you are eating Banku, this morning if you are eating Akple, this morning if you are eating Kenke, this morning you are eating cocoa, likelihood is that maize came from Sisala. So this road, the economic potential of it, the social potential of it, the political potential of it is also huge. So I'm happy, and let me say I'm jealous. I'm jealous that your roads have been started first. I'm jealous, but don't worry. I also hope because I passed there is nothing there. And you said yours
is here.
Yours even started before they went to cut the saw. That's also excellent. I'm just saying I'm jealous. No, it's there. I've seen it. Look, I don't want to be done. If there's one thing that I've decided not to be skeptical about is the big push. I have it, especially with this road. I have 1,001 reasons why I should be skeptical. I don't want to be.
Your government couldn't do it, but I will do it for you.
You see?
Adam, I'm just helping you.
No, I don't need your help. Okay, I don't need your help. No, because don't let us do this. I don't need your help. I'm saying that.
So I'm saying that. No, you should admit his government couldn't do it, but we'll do it for you. It's part of the big push.
We should start doing this.
He will do it for you.
Adam, hold on.
I'm just guiding. I'm just helping.
Do you know a minister called Aruna Hussein?
Yes.
Do you know a minister called Alhaji Amid Suleimana?
I know him very well.
Thank you.
But I'm telling you that it's part of the big push.
That's what I'm saying. So I get it.
Don't worry at all.
You keep doing it.
You couldn't do it, but we'll do it for you.
I'm happy. I'm glad. And I'm so jealous that your roads have been given preference. Your roads have been commission started. I've seen that. I'm also praying that, please, that this road I've also mentioned, the Wa, Heng, JFC, Tumu, Chichilga Road. It's on paper, it's there.
Okay.
It's there. I've seen it.
But the thing was launched only yesterday.
It's there.
Adam, please.
I'm hoping that. I'm also hoping that we put the same importance, the same significance, the same energy, the same prominence to it. So that at the end of the day, and look, I've said I'm a big fan of the book push. I'm cheering for it, and I want to see this happen. If it happens and I get a chance to sit here, I will thank the government for it.
Okay.
I don't want to be skeptical about it. I want to pray that it happens. When I went to my consulted the gods, and the gods through a soothsayer, and they told me, take it easy. Just hold on.
It will be done, because
right? Even the gods are in alignment. Route, I want to give some time, and see what happens. So that when that time happens, we will do that. So look, again, thank God you got yours. I hope ours also come, and I hope it's also done. Okay, we do that. and then the president hometown owned too. The Bole Bamboy road. You see, the Gonjas I also make a lot of noise. Their road is bad. That's the president hometown. You see, he didn't do his road. Okay, this was between me and the president. It doesn't involve you. Let's go. It's true. It's Galamsey. His hometown now. He doesn't want to go there.
That's not true.
Again, I'm saying this.
There's no
Galamsey. There's no Galamsey way.
There's no East. There's no Galamsey in the president's hometown like that.
But there's Galamsey in Savannah.
And Akufo-Addo behind his house. Behind his house. And I think it was doing that. Don't let us go there.
I like the fact that he's minister. You're not timing me. You're not timing me.
On the president's compound, we are told them.
Let's go.
So you have to. So now on the financing.
Look. I think the problem is that, and I think I heard the researcher what he was trying to talk about. Campaigns are expensive. Democracy is expensive. There's this old adage that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. The question, if you think democracy is expensive, you could say, well, try non-democratic rules and see what you get. We tried that in Ghana, we chose democracy. All over the world, in fact, if you're a political leader, all over the world, if you take to the liberal democracies of the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, leaders' ability to raise funds and enough funds to finance their campaigns becomes a very critical factor. So when you're running for office, you need to demonstrate that you can raise enough funds to fund your campaign. Sometimes it is one of the things that is used to demonstrate how viable and how good you are. So the fact that we need a lot of money to run for campaigns is not new. The fact that candidates must raise a lot of money is not new. The problem we have in Ghana is that the reporting system and the accountability system, the infrastructure, the policy to guide it is the only problem. Not the amount of money to be raised. I have no problem with all this. If you are raising a billion, gazillion cities to raise, that's fine with me. It's how we report on it. Because in the United States, with the click of a button, you can know that this candidate raised $1 billion. When Barack Obama was running for office, he didn't have any. He wasn't a billionaire. But he was the first candidate in the US to raise $1 billion to run his campaign. Hillary Clinton followed with $2 billion, and now, because in the last elections, Elon Musk spent almost $500 million for the Trump campaign. They do. Here's the thing: you can click a button and see the reports. Who contributed what? 2, you can click a button and know what that money was used for. How much was used to pay campaign volunteers? How much was used for the media? How much was used for research? You can do that. So it brings a certain amount of transparency. So don't let us try to create this caricature that our elections are too expensive, and because it's expensive, that is necessary by corruption. I think when we do that, we are trying to. Then the question asks us, what are we trying to do? Are we saying the public should pay for it? I disagree with that. I disagree with the fact that the government should be paying you to run for MP. I disagree that the government should be paying you or should be sponsoring your campaign to run for office. No. The government has money. Let's put that money into education. Let's put that money into healthcare. Let's put that money into stopping Galamsey. Let's put that money into improving our roads. I want to do that.
Is the cultural context a relevant factor in discussing? And I'm asking because of some of the items Adam says they spend on. I don't think in the US, if you are going to meet people, key stakeholders, you have to go with something just to.
We don't know that. But the point I'm making, so I go to meet the Trumukuro, is my father in Trumu, and I make a donation to the palace of, let's say, 10,000 cedis. I record it. 10,000 donations. It's a political activity. It's a campaign activity. You buy schnapps to go and greet the chiefs. You record it. It's a campaign item. Just as the same way as if you order a brass band, you record it. So it's not that. The fact is, then the question, if the auditors now want to confirm, they can go to the palace and ask them, hey, did you receive 10,000 from this guy? So it has nothing cultural about it at all. It's what we need is knowledge. What we need is understanding. What we need is education. What we need is to have the EC and other relevance, sit down with political parties and go to. What I want to see is a framework let's say an auditing framework, an accounting framework, a form readily available.
Okay.
And then you say that every candidate, the moment you take out office, we want you to fill this form. And the US, they have quarterly reports. Produce quarterly reports. Look, the laws, enforce the laws. It's not how much you raise. I want to make a point, okay? Think about it this way. You say it costs almost 4 million or to run for president, okay? Take in the last elections. Honorable Alan Chamanten ran the last elections. He got about 32,000 votes. If you take this money and divide over them, these are people who believe in his vision. These are people who can invest in him. If you divide this money one day, each one of them can easily contribute that money to the campaign. It mustn't come from his deep pockets, Solomon. It mustn't come from anywhere. Okay. He can easily get committed and dedicated people to contribute that money. Okay. In the same way, Dr. Baumia got over 2 million votes. If you divide this amount of money by them, because these are people who believe in his vision, they can easily contribute 10 CD, 20 CD, 100 CDs, it will raise. His Excellency President Mahama got about 4 million votes. That is money that, these are people who believe in him. Divide this amount of money among these people. So one, what we need to do to reform the system is one, improve our campaign financing laws. Improve our campaign fundraising laws. Improve our campaign reporting laws. In other words, bring enough transparency and accountability in the system. Because these candidates have followers. There are people who trust them. And these people will invest in their campaign. I think the idea is that whenever we raise this thing, we make it look like you must pull the money out of your bank account. You must go and get the money for no. If for everything, like he just said, he ran and won elections. I don't think his bank account is that big to have fun. No. But he came up with innovative and creative ways to raise this money. What we should do is throw a big light into those ways to then see who are these friends who were holding a dinner for you. Who are these friends who gave you this check? How much did they raise? So that today I can go to the EDM campaign, click on a line, and see his list of donors.
All right, sure. Let me come to Mr. Owusu now. And there's a part of the report where they do a bit of field work. And basically what they found, the various constituencies they went to, is that the biggest spenders won. I mean, I agree with him that it's not about how much you are spending. But if the biggest spenders are winning, it means that if you can't raise a lot of money, then political parties like yours, if it becomes a party, you're in trouble.
It is going to be a party. No, it's already going to be a party. But let me quickly address this issue. This morning, they have exhibited indiscipline. Your station meticulously gave us a topic. If they have activism to come and do, they must wait. They cannot come and choose a topic here and then run with it. If you don't take it next time, you bring a topic on road, and by the time you realize you'll be discussing prostitution on this platform. That is the first point. I'm very happy that my brother Zato ended with transparency, that we must enforce the laws. Very important. We have enough laws to govern or regulate our political funding activities. Many a times, if you listen to everyone, what seems to be a mystery is those that are contributing towards our political, or funding our political activities. And you rightly said it, the biggest spenders are the ones winning. And must it be the case? So, thankfully, in recent days, we have heard the former flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, graciously give us an information that he single-handedly donated more than 300 brand new Navara pickups to the New Patriotic Party. For me, it's an enough information that all of us know the salary of a vice president. And we know that if he decided not to even take a cedi from his salary for the entire 8 years, and even the period that he was working at the Bank of Ghana, he could not afford the 300 plus Navara pickups.
From his own pockets.
From his own pockets. So if you take it that I'm in the transport business, on the average, a brand new Navara plus duty will not cost less than 60,000. If you take it as 60,000, and then let's even use the base figure of 300, don't let us go into plus, that means he donated $80 million to the MPP campaign. Now, what must we ask him? Was it a case that this money came from his pocket? Was it a case that he was helped by friends or his network, as you have been told? There are no answers. So to help deepen our democracy, this morning when I leave this place by 10:30, I am submitting a petition to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to help us in this regard. That we go in to find out who helped him to ask to donate the 300 plus Navara pickups so that it does not become.
As in, you're petitioning the OSP to investigate that donation done by the former
Absolutely. He himself willingly gave us this information. Willingly. For the first time, he has been so charitable, giving us this information. From there, I'm going to petition also on Brian Champon. He was saying that he gave $1,500 to each of the executives. Ken Japan also was making reference to some money. No, we have to let the system work. People get away with a lot of things because we have the laws, we have the institutions. And in this country, we are quick to identify the problem, but nobody wants to ask it to make sure that we deal with the problem. This morning at 10:30, I, together with Ebo Bachman and lawyer Pia Dankwa, we are going to test the laws of the land to make sure that the former vice president comes out to explain to the people of this country how and where he got these 300 plus Navara pickups that are brand new in nature, and as to whether or not these were not aided by foreigners who are not supposed to take part in our body politic in terms of funding. Now, to buttress that point, is very dangerous and serious, and people have been seeing it. Somewhere on the 20th of August 2024, in some few months to the elections, the New Patriotic Party, by its General Secretary, issued a power of attorney to one Miss Nanadwa Ose Akoto. And I have the letter here. If you want to project it, you can, but I'll read it for you to hear and see what we are doing to the people of this country, what we are using our politics to do. It says, Your Excellency, appointment as Special Envoy, we greet you for and on behalf of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, the ruling party in Ghana. We also take the opportunity to appoint you as a Special Envoy of the New Patriotic Party with a power of attorney from us. As a Special Envoy, you are mandated to negotiate. I'm sure you are listening. Negotiate and deal with all manner of principle and aligned, emphasized personalities and solicit their support in matters which are considered paramount in the interest of the party. In particular, you brief the dignitaries on the political process in Ghana, the effort the party is making to consolidate the positive gains of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led government with special emphasis on contributions geared towards maintaining power in the oncoming general election on the 7th of December 2024. We trust in your ability. I understand this letter or document that was given to this lady led her to solicit for more funding.
I mean, we have not seen that letter.
I can make it available to you. Yeah, I have it here.
Yes, it, we have to authenticate it.
Yes.
The point you are making is forming part of what you are asking the agencies to look into.
Yes, I mean, that's why we'll be petitioned separately. I mean, but what I'm saying is that as a political party, you cannot give a power of attorney to a Ghanaian to be shopping around the world when you know that your political parties are 2000. Section 2324 makes it clear that non-citizens of this country are not supposed to take part in the funding of our political activities.
Okay.
That what are you insinuating? Especially when your letter does not specify. It says you should deal with every principal, and every principal could be a foreigner or a Ghanaian. So we need to go into such matters. This is not to say that the said lady or envoy went in for money from foreigners, but to help shape our political discourse. In the same way, the petition that we are doing concerning the 300 pickups is not to suggest that the vice president dipped his hand into the pocket or the coffers of the state, but just to bring matters, clarity to matters. Now, we are monetizing our politics without people speaking against it. And it's unfortunate that the only reasonable example that you could lay hands on always has to be with the MPP. It's unfortunate. If I had documents to prove to the fact that the NDC was doing that, I would go straight. Because you see, we were sitting somewhere. Once again, Engineer Adenimo. You know Engineer Adenimo? Yeah. His reason, one of the reasons for withdrawing from the MPP's presidential primaries had to do with what? Money. Money. Paragraph 4 of his letter states that the unreasonableness of the fees that have been charged, which is 4.6 million. For the information of your viewers, 4.6 million is 46 billion old cities. That is billion Makuma 46. If you put it in a chop box, it will be over. This new patriotic party is saying that they should come and pay the money before someone could be the flag bearer. Now I've been on a number of platforms with their communicators who openly argued with me that indeed it could never be true, including the director of communication of the party. So if you have a political party that is implementing a policy or a fee structure that its lead communicator is not even aware, then what are you talking about? And I heard from the Council of Elders boss or chairman of the Council of Elders, Mr. Hackman Osuajiman, lamentation 1-2. That why have we turned our party into a monocratic party? That he couldn't believe his ears and eyes that the party was charging 4.6 million Ghana cedis. And we are looking on concern. I'm happy Adam was enumerating what they use their money on. I dare say that if you want to spend, you want to spend. It's the reason why maybe some of us are not putting ourselves up for elections, because it's unconscionable for me to pay for your vote. I wouldn't do it. So if that is the reason why you will not vote for me, take your vote. Excuse my language.
The great action plan is not going to get implemented.
No, but we are going to tell them. You see, we are going to speak truth to them.
Because the data shows that those who are spending more are winning.
No, but it's also not true. It is defective. Because you see, you cannot convince me that in election 2024, the NDC had more than the MPP. Are you able to convince me?
Yeah, I mean, I get that point, but in the context of the areas that they looked at, those specific constituencies,
that was saying that we are also political actors.
Okay.
It's not always those that have money that wins elections. In fact, people who have ideas, people who have integrity, they win elections. In election 2024, the party that people saw them to be credible won it. How was your money going to diffuse the minds or win the minds of people that were concentrating on Galamsey? That you were destroying the environment. How was money going to change that? How was money going to change the perception of corruption? How was money going to change the fact that we have seen president and his appointees who were behaving arrogantly across the country?
Okay.
It is the way we have given so much weight to money that is letting people behave like so. Right. We have to go back, let candidates have a message. Your message alone can take you far.
Okay. Let me wrap up with Doc on Zoom. Doc has been on for a while. Doc, any reaction to the issues that have come up, and you wrap up for me on this subject?
Yeah, so I think very important key.
Okay. I think there's a bit of a challenge to the connection to Doc. What I'm going to do is that I'll give you a minute.
Yes, a minute.
Directly.
I just want to do three
I'll
things.
come to you.
The first one is that there's an aspect of the report that I disagree with, which is the fact that they make the assumption that in most cases, candidates who spend more won. It may be in a few cases, because if it was about being very resourceful, there's no way I would have been here as a member of parliament.
Yes, Doc, we have you back. You were making a point just before we lost you. Hello, Doc.
I was saying that there is recognition, at least across the panelists, that we need a lot more transparency in our campaign finance legal framework, and that for me is key. If we accept that money or financial resources would always be critical to the survival of a political party and their ability to contest in an election, that's fine. Then let's build a more robust system that enforces the law and ensures that it's very transparent. Because again, for me, if I were running for office and someone gave me 100 Ghana cedis, I won't read too much into it. But if I were running for office and someone approached me with 100 million Ghana, it's a very different proposition. And want our democracy to be captured, even if it's not just those who are running for office, but those who are financing candidates and parties because they have deep pockets. What do they want in return? And what does that do, especially, for example, with our fight against corruption?
All right. Thank you very much, Doc, for joining us. Dr. John Osai Kwapon is a CDD fellow joining us for this discussion. And then you have 30 seconds more. The point you wanted to make.
So that point must be well established.
Okay.
That, I mean, if it was about having so much money, some of us will not be in parliament. God's grace, hard work, and the people believed in us. But again, you still have to make some expenditure. But it is not always about the one with the deep pockets. Number two, I wanted to give him the information that he shouldn't worry. The problem of farmers not getting markets for their goods, we are in the process of ending that.
Okay.
When you go to the National Buffer Stock Company, and I will encourage you to interview the Chief Executive Officer, one Mr. George Abredu or so. The gentleman is working so hard. Last week, I was on your platform and I complained about rice farmers in Ketunov not getting market. From last week, as I speak to you, he has been on the phone with me, engaging. We are in the process. They are doing what they call the National Food Reserves, where they are identifying warehouses and they are buying. So within this week or by next week,
that's
all the rice from my area. And they are doing that for maize and other things. The other thing I want to say, the Big Push project. My brother's MPP couldn't solve the problem in 8 years. But when you look at the Big Push roads, as announced by the Finance Ministry, the roads that he was mentioning,
he considered, he said it's on paper, he agreed to that.
So
he said he just wants to see it happen.
The problem they couldn't solve, who will solve it?
Okay, Doc,
you should relax.
One minute, you have some reaction.
Thank you. Maybe today that Adam has added his name to this cry for maize to this area, maybe it will happen. Because people have been, the farmers people have been crying, it has not happened. So now the buffer stock, don't listen to me.
Use your common fund to buy from them.
Adam, you see the fact that when you I don't want you to say I'm being disruptive.
It's not fair. I give you a minute, no interruption.
I don't want you to say I'm being disruptive.
No.
Usually, look, today you and I are the gentlemen. This is the chief disruptor.
No. Doc, listen to me. So Doc, listen to me.
You always do that. He's the chief disruptor. He's doing that. So this is the point. Chief Buffer Stock, don't listen to me, listen to Adam. He says, please come and buy the maize, come and give the good price and do that. They're not doing it.
I'm telling you that they have introduced what they call the national.
But they are not doing it. Don't say they are doing it. Please, that's not. I came from you. They are not doing it. Say they will do it.
Doc,
there's a difference. They are not doing it.
I gave you a minute for reaction.
I'm happy that he's saying it. So let's come and do it. Secondly, you see, I've chosen for very good reasons not to be skeptical about the big project, the big push. Because see, we have been down this road. These roads I'm talking about, they have been commissioned. They have been commissioned by, look, anyway, I don't want to be skeptical because I know what it means. Year of Rose did 30 kilometers of that road. Do you know how much the 8 years of the Mills Muhammad Vision did that road? Nothing. Year of Rose did 30 kilometers of that road from Nahadekui to Poloma. I don't want to do this because if I do it, it looks like I'm playing politics with that road. I don't want to play politics. No, you say you're going to do it and you answer this. 8 years. Mills Muhammad combined nothing. No, year of Rose did 30 kilometers on that road.
Your mic is not working. Only one mic is working. Here's
Year of Rose did 30 kilometers, and I'm giving you the specific from Nahadekui to Poloma. Year of Rose did that. 8 years. What did you do? Nothing. So if you want to look at record on that particular route, there's a record and there's a record. Nothing.
All right.
Look, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to do the usual for that route.
Okay.
Year of Rose, they put something on the board. 8 years of you did nothing. Anyway, I want that happen. But secondly, Solomon, today I want to agree with you. Yes, do call for those auditions to do. But my point then is, if we are all talking about campaign transparency, why limit it to one political party? Why don't you add the NDC too?
I don't have evidence.
No, but what evidence?
Now your man is saying that he donated 300, so there's a point of
what
reference.
I'm saying is that
if you talk to him,
no, I know. No, for this particular area,
he wants me to.
So all I'm simply saying is that let's not be selective when it comes to looking for transparency. Okay. So me, I will pray that you find a way to make sure that, in fact, all the political parties that contested account to the good people. That all the political parties that because there were, if you go to my constituency of Tumu, there were 2 pickups, but the NDC had a pickup, branded NDC. The NPP had a pickup, branded NDC, and we saw them all over the country. That means that all the political parties donated or purchased pickups for their campaigns. The point I'm making is that let's seek, if you are seeking justice, let's seem to be fair. Let us audit all of them. Let us see where all their money came from, and then with the aim that we could learn from it, with the aim that we could reform the system. But if we are just seen to be asking one person to be doing it, then inherently we are building a bias into it, and it may not lead to the kind of transparency and accountability we want. So in the name of good governance, in the name of accountability and transparency, let's do it for all of them.
Okay, thank you. So I'm giving Solomon 1 minute.
So it's very simple. I would be the happiest person to take any leading member of the NDC who is perceived or who comes across telling people that I donated two pickups, 3 pickups to a campaign to petition the OSP to investigate the person. Here was a former vice president. You see, we underestimate certain things. He left office not long ago, telling delegates that he single-handedly, Toyota Ghana or Nissan Ghana cannot even import 300 pickups at a go. Now he is telling us that he single-handedly donated 300 plus, not even 300. I am being charitable to the campaign of the MPP. Now I have done the mathematics and told you that if we were going to take even 300 and then say that one costs $60,000, we are talking about $80 million. We know the salaries of vice presidents. We know his salary when he was in at the Bank of Ghana. So it cannot be that that money came from his pocket. Just to enrich our democratic practice, just to make sure that our democracy is, as it were, safe from monetization, I am going to the OSP for him to better go and explain. When you go there and explain it better, would it not help his credibility? So you must be thanking me this morning. So you also take up the other matters with the NDC. Can I be taking all the matters up?
Yes.
All right. So
did I not mention candidate point then?
In terms of the first discussion this morning, there are some messages that have come.
It's one after the other. A lot of petitions down the way.
So far, Musa Abatwa, you make the point about monocracy, and you say you agree with Solo that it is indeed characterized by the MPP, whether in government or in opposition. The party has consistently monetized the political space. Another message here, okay, the others who also disagree as well. This one here, you say that the high cost of campaign funds is like selling a bowl of soup today. When a crown is bought with gold, it's used with a whip of iron. Such leaders drain coffers to recover costs, leaving debt instead of development. So that is what time would allow us for this first conversation. The second conversation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each person 2 minutes. I'm just going to ask a direct question. Please, Solomon says we should be very disciplined. Answer my question directly. And let me start with you, Doc. On Galamsey, directly. Should a state of emergency be declared by the president? 2 minutes.
Yes. The Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference issued this statement on the leadership of His Excellency the President in the Galamsey area. This statement is a serious indictment on the abilities of His Excellency the President to fight this canker. The Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, they are men of faith. The only thing they preach is faith, belief. But they are simply telling us by this that they have lost faith in the President. Imagine that. Men of God saying we've lost faith in you. They are asking for some very simple things. Very, very simple things that the President should do. And they are saying that. In fact, if you read this letter, the point they are making is that the President seems to prioritize money over lives. Money over destinies, money over health. They are simply saying something. The hour is late. Delay is betrayal. Now, not tomorrow, no later is the time to act. Your Excellency, please listen to this man of God. Because they have demonstrated, they more than anybody have demonstrated that when it comes to this, they are not partisan. They more than anybody else have demonstrated when it comes to this, they are not. When we talk about the state of emergency, there are some people that are trying to raise a false alarm using some inferior tactics that if there's a state of emergency, they'll start shooting people. Like they make it look like the moment you declare a state of emergency, you will see a machine gun and they're just shooting out people like this. No. There are places and installations in this country, if you go there, they will shoot you.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Okay.
There are installations in this country. If you go to Bema Camp, you can go to Bema Camp, but there are places if you go there, you will get shot. The Jubilee House. If you go to Jubilee House to the wrong place, you'll be shot. The installations. A state of emergency says that I'm putting my money where it is. A state of emergency is a value statement. Okay. A state of emergency is a courage statement. A state of emergency is you saying that I am prepared to do any and everything. Right. We have declared state of emergencies in whole towns, in whole communities. Declare selective state of emergencies. But there's another proposal that I want to give His Excellency the President if he doesn't want to declare the state of emergency, my preferred. Declare the rivers that have Galamsey as military barracks, military stations, and place military people there semi-permanently. Okay. That's what you do. all the rivers, we talk of Pra and Cobra. There's a Pra, Cobra, Birim, Ofen, Ayensu. There are 5. Imagine you permanently state about 100 soldiers all the place. Okay, every week or every 2 weeks, you rotate them.
2 minutes,
these soldiers will be there to make sure that they please, whatever we do, we should not sell the destiny of our country for gold. That's what we are doing.
So 2 minutes.
So I'm happy that finally the MPP is coming home to join the movement on what we preached last year when they were in power, that they disagreed. First of all, the movement believed that there should have been a total ban on small-scale and artisanal mining for a year. Now, we said so with a view that when you ban it for a year, then we can do what we call reclamation of the environment. So important. They were also suggesting that we revoke all licenses that were issued in the last 15 years and start all afresh. Because what is happening in the system is that everyone claims it is doing the right thing, yet we are facing existential threat. So we suggested that. And then we were going to embark on what we call cooperatives, corporate management of these small-scale miners and so on and so forth. Be that as may, the people of this country voted for John Mahama and the NDC to implement that. The president thinks otherwise, that the state of emergency is not the solution. But there is some levels of hope at the end of the day. I have engaged the NIMOS people extensively to understand what really they want to do, because as political activists, it's not every day that you come and then bash them. But I realized that they have very, very positive programs that, when well implemented. The difficulty I have with this administration and by extension the president is that you don't fight this huge problem with just giving them 5 pickups and 5 million. That is a joke of the century. This huge problem under the vanguard, the old administration that they even expended more than 300 million and so on and so forth, what was the results? So the president, having assured us that he's not ready for the state of emergency now, must then now invest heavily in the NIMOS. So that they can go. I've seen their works. Now they are fighting. It's not a war. People that are in Accra that do not know. It's now a battle on the the Bonsa River, the Ankobra River. It's every morning I'm receiving update on it. How soldiers are coming into confrontation. It's so scary. Okay. And that the president must push the button a notch higher by investing heavily in the NIMOS. And those that are within this administration who are busily cutting deals with this galamsey, let's just assure them that this country has a spirit. You cannot kill the future of the youth with your greed.
Okay, all right.
I'll end it here. Why have you taken the time to? You gave him 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You gave me 1 minute.
I gave you 3 actually. I gave him 3 and I gave him 3.
As a movement for change, that we are moving things. You are giving me.
I'm actually tracking. Wrap up for me. Wrap up for me.
I think that I agree with the growing calls for some more radical measures in the fight against galamsey. But it's also important to make the point that in the last 8 months, under the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, we have seen a renewed commitment to the fight against galamsey.
That's not true. That's not true.
And
that's not true.
Oh, you see,
it's not true. No, it's not true.
I'm saying that
because the galamsey has gotten worse now than it was.
I'm saying that because
that is a fallacy. The community level for the first time, Ghana Water Company Limited is shutting down. So the question telling you publicly that it is worse now. You have the Catholic Bishop Conference telling us. So what can you say?
As we speak.
All the forest now. If you say you are being selectively
forest reserves, all the 9 forest reserves, all the 9 forest reserves that were overtaken,
so listen,
even Erasmus agrees with me.
You just gave all the forest to the illegal miners.
They remove that from them.
You
because you are
your microphones are off. Your microphones are off. What you are saying is not going anywhere.
Zato came here.
Adam, no, hold on. Your microphones are off. Adam, go ahead and make a point.
Adam was interrupting me. He didn't come
No, hold on.
No, where he came to say, he didn't say that I was giving it. So Adam heckled me. Make sure I never made my
all the 9 forests.
It was me.
It is a fact.
You see how you are
selective. It is a fact that is a fact that all the 9 forests that Galamsey
has. We talk to Erastus will tell you that nothing is working.
Before the NDC came into power,
your mic is off.
It's not going anywhere. Where he was
all of those forests. As we speak today, across every Galamsey district, we have seen a renewed commitment, even by the security.
The toxicity levels are not
when you follow,
they are increasing. The water is not getting cleaner, it's not getting fresher.
And we saw the pictures of the rivers
of propaganda
before the people came into office. We saw what they left. And you can see how the renewed committee. Today,
in fact, for now,
we do not have political party activists. We do not have regional chairman of the NDC
your national
who have been given forest to go
and hold on a second for me.
Your government even signed. Your government even signed. Brought an ally, especially just to allow your operatives.
I'm just trying to show you what he did to me.
Your government operatives were caught on tape.
I want you to know how it feels.
No, you see, they are never comfortable. It is never comfortable with the issue.
No, I don't think you're being fair. I'm saying that because in all those instances, I extended your time to allow you to make your point.
No, so I'm just saying.
So it is not fair that it is not fair. No, because I extended your time to let him make his point. So it's fine. So let them just conclude for me. Just conclude for me in a minute.
Joe, I am not surprised because anytime the issue of Galamsey is mentioned, then people is uncomfortable. And that is why he is. Because under your government, you signed an ally just to give your operatives, your original chairman, your ministers and co, permission to go and mine in the forest. You degraded forest, you degraded our environment, and that is what you did. Today, since the NDC came into office, not a single company or individual has been given permission to go and mine in the forest. So when you talk about Galamsey, even when your people were caught on video, President Akufo-Addo pardoned them and said that he cleared them. So
why
you in the MPP, he's never under arrest. You in the MPP,
you are arrested. Why are you under arrest?
Under arrest? What is under arrest? To cause an investigation. What is that? Is that under investigation? No, you are a lecturer. When they say that you are under investigation,
our show this morning. My guests this morning have been Dr. Joshua Zato. He's a political and policy analyst. Eric Edem Agbana is MP for Ketuno, and Solomon Owusu, who is a senior communicator for the movement for change. I mean, this is how it becomes sometimes on Wednesdays. But we'll just take a quick break. But before then, a media general invites you to the National Thought Leadership Forum under the theme From Blueprints to Brick, Making Affordable Housing Work. This convening and roundtable reflection will assemble policymakers, financiers, developers, traditional leaders, and innovators to move the conversations from policy to practice. It will showcase real housing prototypes, explore financing models, and launch a practical roadmap for affordable housing delivery in Ghana. Do note the event scheduled for Tuesday, 23rd September 2025 from 8 a.m. to 11 at the Labadi Beach Hotel. The program will feature contributions from esteemed speakers like Dr. Edward Atusapon, Managing Director, ADB Bank, Mr. Gideon Akrofi, Executive Chairman, Rehoboth Properties Limited. And the key note speaker is the Honorable Kenneth Gilbert Ejay, who is the Minister for Housing. This event will be broadcast live on TV3 and 3FM and amplified across our digital platforms and on 3news.com. This event is open to the public, and for inquiries, you can call Lily at 057089900. And because it's open to the public, Dr. Joshua Zato, political and policy analyst, will be joining. Eric Edem Agbana, you're also invited as well. Cape North Member of Parliament, and Solomon Owusu, Senior Communicator, Movement for Change. Thank you for joining the discussion segment. We have a lot more coming up, sports and other interesting interviews. Stay tuned in.